For this episode, we continue our team preview series featuring the Brooklyn Nets. And we still have our quick timer thoughts featuring two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. And of course, the top 5 plays of the night. The Dropping Dimes podcast starts right about now. Yes, sir. Welcome back, Dimers. It's 9 days before Christmas. Okay, so for those who are just new to the channel, or if you haven't done it yet, please click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you can follow all the episodes of the Dropping Dimes podcast. Feel free to like the video, comment your thoughts, and share the video as well. Okay, so for today's episode, we continue our team preview series, this time with the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, sir. Nets look serious. They look legit. They have KD back. They have Kyrie. And it will be interesting to talk about them. Again, for those who want to follow us, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also follow us on Anchor and Spotify. Okay, so we start the episode with our quick dimer thoughts. This is how we done. Okay, so for our quick dimer thoughts today, we will be talking about only one player. One player only, and that is the two-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, yes, surprisingly signed that max extension worth $228.28 million deal to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. So congratulations, Giannis, and congratulations also to the Milwaukee Bucks for retaining the two-time MVP. So what are the implications here? So for those people who are saying that he might be going to the Warriors, might be going to the Heat, of course that will not be happening anytime soon right now. He decided to stay. He decided he wanted to go this route. And I respect that. I respect the decision of Giannis. We have to respect that as well. His championship opportunities, of course, will be heavily affected by this decision to stay. I just hope that the Milwaukee Bucks, in spite of the fact that Giannis decided to stay put with them, will still put a decent team or a championship contending team around him. I was a little worried because of his only request was a guy like Bogdanovic, and they couldn't even deliver. He ended up with the Hawks. So good luck to Giannis. If this is the path that he wanted, then so be it. Some are asking me, what about his championship aspirations? Maybe Giannis was just different. It was just built differently. He wanted to focus on his loyalty for the team that drafted him, the team that helped him become who he is right now. So more than anything else, congratulations to Giannis Antetokounmpo. And now let's go to the storylines of the Brooklyn Nets, the main storylines. First, follow the Nets at Brooklyn Nets on Instagram. So let's start first, of course, with their core players. You've seen Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jarrett Allen all together now and healthy. They have a new coach in Steve Nash. Okay, the former two-time MVP. They still have DeAndre Jordan with them. Aside from that, they added some important players and vets like Uncle Jeff Green, reunited with Kevin Durant. They still have young gun Harris Levert. Hoping that Levert can stay healthy, he will be a big piece for them. They re-signed Tyler Johnson, the former Heat. Played pretty well for them during the latter part of the season. They drafted Reggie Perry in the second round, and they have added him, and then acquired Landry Shamet. So those are the key players. Again, they are led by Kevin Durant and by World B Flat, Kyrie Irving. Now let's go to what the Nets did last season. So last season, they were like the seventh seed in the East. They had a coaching change. They fired Kenny Atkinson. They brought in interim head coach Jock Vaughn, who led them to a 7-3 record. They were eliminated in the playoffs by the Toronto Raptors. They got blown out. When they got eliminated, they lost by 28 points. Sean Marks is still the GM for the Nets. It wasn't a bad season at all for a team that lost Kevin Durant, or didn't have Kevin Durant rather, and then Kyrie Irving was also gone for the season. They started playing better, ironically, when Kyrie got injured. Again, nothing against Kyrie. And then let's look at the numbers. 16th in points per game, 19th in opposition points per game. When it comes to their offensive rating, 22nd only, but they were very good defensively at 9th in the league. Expected win-loss, 35 and 37. That's exactly what they got. Okay, so this is the schedule for the Brooklyn Nets. They have one more preseason game. That's against the Boston Celtics, and then they'll be playing. They'll start the season against the Golden State Warriors, and that will be played at the Barclays Center as Kevin Durant faces his former team. What a matchup that would be. Durant, Draymond. And then they'll play Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics again. That will be their second regular season game. Okay, so just to recap, their key additions: Jeff Green, Landry Shamet, drafted Reggie Perry, and they have a new coach in former two-time MVP Steve Nash. Here, as for their key returning players, you have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, who of course, he missed a lot of time. When we saw him play, he was kind of rusty, but it's okay. That was expected. Jarrett Allen will bring the interior presence, and defensively, most specifically, Spencer Dinwiddie has the potential to be the third best player for them. I also forgot to mention Joe Harris. This guy will play a big role for the Nets because of the way he can stretch the floor and shoot the basketball. DeAndre Jordan hopefully can continue mentoring Jarrett Allen. And then Caris LeVert, super talented young man, but of course he has to avoid injuries. Torian Prince had a very underrated season, but if you look at his stats, he actually averaged 12 points per ball game. And then Tyler Johnson, again, re-signed after a solid stint during the bubble. And they're still waiting on Nicholas Claxton, but for sure they'll just continue developing the young man. Now let's go to their stats. Courtesy of basketballreference.com. So for all the latest stats, basketballreference.com is the way to go. So let's now look at their stats. Again, it's not really going to be indicative of what the Nets can do because they didn't have their two superstars last year. But this is more of the potential that the Nets have, given that they didn't have Kyrie, given that they didn't have KD, and yet they were still 16 hit points, right? And some some things that they will surely improve on: the field goal percentages, the 3-point percentages. That will improve because Kevin and Kyrie will be back, and they also were second in rebounding. Now, as for their defense, this is exactly what allowed or propelled the Nets to make it to the playoffs. They were not an elite defensive team, more of a good enough defensive team to make up for their lack of offense last year. So teams always had a hard time garnering assists when they are playing the Nets. And then I think they defended the 3-point shot very well. Opponents only shot 35% against them. And look at this. Opponents only shot 44.6% from the field whenever they played the Brooklyn Nets. Now let's go to their advanced stats. Again, we focus on their offensive rating and defensive rating and their pace. Pace was pretty good. They were 9th in the league. Defensive rating, elite. They were 9th as well. And then offensive rating, again, this is where they struggled last year because they didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Durant, so they were only 22nd. And as expected, the Nets fans, they don't show up. The stars aren't there, so they will still not be able to show up because of the situation. But I hope these New Yorkers will rally behind their Brooklyn Nets. Now let's go to their player stats. Okay, so these are their player stats. So Kyrie Irving played in only 20 games for the Brooklyn Nets. He averaged 27 points, 6.4 rebounds, 6.4 assists rather, 5.2 boards, 1.4 steals, while shooting 39% from the 3-point distance, 47.8% from the field. To simply put, about a 92.2% from the line. Kyrie Irving is indeed a baller. No one ever questioned his talent and his skill level. Arguably the best ball handler we have ever seen. Incredibly clutch, and the guy can really get buckets. But of course, the main problem for Kyrie are the off-the-court issues, always getting himself into all these unnecessary controversies, which, to be honest with you, later I'll talk about it, might be the eventual problem for this team. Now, let's focus on the guys that they still have. Joe Harris, what you have to look at, aside from the 14.5 points, how about the 42% from 3-point distance? That will be important. Harris LeVert, average 18.7. Definitely a chance to... He and Dinwiddie, they have a chance to, fight for whoever will be that third best player on this team. Spencer averaged 20.6 points, 6.8 assists. Super solid numbers, especially when Kyrie went down. Spencer Dinwiddie really started playing well. Taurean Prince had an underrated season, but was still very effective. Jarrett Allen, a double-double, 11 points, 10 boards. And look at the blocks as well, 1.3, super solid for Jarrett Allen. Now for Tyler Johnson, he was picked up after being waived. He averaged 12 points per game and 3 boards and 3 assists, not bad at all. DeAndre Jordan, he's no longer the DeAndre or Jordan of old. But if he can mentor Jarrett Allen, that would be really good for the Brooklyn Nets. The development of Allen is very important for this team. And then they will continue working on Nicholas Claxton as well. Now let's go to my thoughts and predictions about the Brooklyn Nets. Again, we saw them play. We know what Kyrie can do. When he's just focused on basketball, Kyrie Irving can easily be the best point guard in the league. But when he's thinking and saying things that are not necessary, that's when they become, or that's when they get into trouble. Kevin Durant, they had this Instagram Live. Was that Instagram Live? And man, Kyrie, come on, man. Can we just like stop doing these things? Focus on the basketball or playing basketball for crying out loud. Just focus there and you will be good. Right? The better, the less that he talks, the better it is for them. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are two of the best players in the league. If you can have them playing at their very best, then you'll be a really good team for sure, especially with a team that already made the playoffs even without them. And then, aside from that, you're also looking at two guys in Levert and Spencer Dinwiddie who had super solid seasons. The question for the Nets would be, how will Levert and Dinwiddie accept their new roles? Definitely, Dinwiddie won't be averaging any more 20 points per ball game. Levert, his averages will also go down. How willing are they to accept their new roles? Again, on the offensive end, that's where Durant and Kyrie will help. They were already a really good team, a really good defensive team, even when they didn't have Kyrie and Kevin. So they will be obviously one of these elite teams coming into this season. And what are my predictions for the Nets? You're looking at the team that might end up either being the second best team in the East or even the best team in the Eastern Conference. Nothing against the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just that they have Kyrie Irving and they have Kevin Durant. If those guys stay healthy, look out. The Nets are gonna be a tough out. But again, do I think that the Nets will make it all the way? It all depends on how they handle these off the court issues. How will Kyrie behave? Kevin Durant also has history of, the burner accounts and saying stuff that probably he shouldn't. But if they can just focus on the basketball or on playing basketball, then I think the Nets will be fine. Okay? Someone asked me if the Nets can win the championship. Of course they can. Am I saying that they can beat the Lakers on a, let's say, 7-game series? I think they can. They can beat the Lakers, right? Kevin Durant, Kyrie, these guys are special. It's not like they're not, right? But I'm worried. The reason why it's hard for me to trust the Nets right now. Steve Nash, as great as he is, it will be his first time as a head coach. And his lead assistants are basically the core members of the Phoenix Suns, and they were never known for their defense, right? And the reason why the Nets were good with that category last year was because they were being coached by guys coming from the San Antonio Spurs tree. Kenny Atkinson, and then you have Jock Vaughn. These guys were really known for their defense and the way they mentor, the way they coach their teams. It's really focused on defense. But when it comes to Mike D'Antoni and Steve Nash, and you bring in Amari Stoudemire, man, I grew up watching those Suns, man, and their best defense was their offense. I just don't know how you can do that and beat guys or beat teams like the Lakers or the Heat or the Bucks. That will be a problem. They can't be playing like that and expect to win a championship without playing defense. So the numbers again are very deceiving because they will practically have a new team with Kyrie and Kevin. Okay, so those are my predictions for the Brooklyn Nets. Possible first seed or second seed in the East. Now, when it comes to their playoff run, it will all depend on their defense, and it will all depend on the focus of both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and then add on, of course, to their health. They've not been. Kevin is going to be coming off that Achilles injury. Kyrie has always been injury prone. But let's see. They're probably one of the most intriguing teams in the league. So let's now go to the top plays of the night. Yes, sir. So let's start at number 5. Who do we have at number 5? Oh, the beard. Yes, the beard. James Harden, obviously, needs to get in shape. You have to get in shape, James. You can be playing at this dad bod kind of body of yours right now, so you have to get yourself into shape. He only shot 33%, I think, and 30%, but this was still nasty against the rookie David Vassell. Welcome to the league, young buck. Now at number 4, who do we have at number 4? Oh, the alley-oop, Dwight Howard. We can now call him a champion. Superman with the finish. Nice. Now at number 3, the Aaron Fox beats the buzzer. Oh, the bank is open. The Aaron Fox. What does the Fox say? And according to the Aaron, it's all good. The bank is very much open. Let's now go to number 2. Okay, at number 2, we have, the greatest shooter of all time is at it again. Look at this ridiculous play. Steph, oh my goodness. Steph and Curry just making it look too easy. Yes, sir. Too easy. Oh, just too easy for Steph. Now let's go to number 1. Yes, and you might be surprised. This is the last minute decision on my part to put this play. That's my guy, Kyle Guy, the former Virginia standout for the win. Yes, sir! Kyle Guy. Down by 2, no hesitation. Propelling the Kings with that dagger 3. Yes, sir. Kyle Guy beats the Warriors at the buzzer. Those are the top plays of the night. Guy. Bang! Now let's go to our shout-outs. Yes, there's JDR Machine. Yes, sir. Thank you, JDR Machine, and to Yesey Buckets for introducing the episode. So again, shout-outs as well to all these people following us on Instagram, right? So thank you as well. And I don't get to thank them enough. City Clothing, Shine Sport 2, Uncommon Jerseys. Thank you guys. Antetokounmpo Heat, very, very supportive. Of course, thank you as well to everyone who follows us on Facebook, on Twitter, and also those who have. Thank you also to those who have subscribed on YouTube. Many, many thanks, and welcome to the new dimers who just started following the podcast. Okay, so before we end, again, if you haven't done it yet, click on the subscribe button and hit on that notification bell so that you can follow all the episodes of the Tropic Times podcast by JI9. Again, if you love the video, click on the like button. Comment your thoughts. Please do comment your thoughts because, again, it helps me see where I can still improve on the episodes as well. And then please share the video as well. Okay, so that's it for our episode for today. And we will again continue the team preview series tomorrow. I think we go back to the Western Conference, right? Yes, sir. So that's it for our episode 9 days before Christmas. And just a few more days before the regular season. We'll see you again on the next episode of the Dropping Dimes podcast. This is J.I. Dimes saying, when you have a guy like Kevin Durant and a guy like Kyrie Irving, you should be making it to the finals, especially when you're playing in the least. We'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Keep safe.